Texas. You will see a referendum on choice and protecting women's ability to make their own decisions.
Texas is the only state from the time of George Washington to the time of Joe Biden to build our own border wall to secure our state.
Amid a gaggle of hot-button issues impacting this midterm election, none loom larger in Texas than the ongoing border crisis and the Lone Star State's near total ban of abortion. That said, there are other marquee topics of ferocious concern to many who will cast ballots, as in mismanagement of the fragile Texas power grid, as in the ongoing crime waves in Harris and other metropolitan counties, as in election reform some see as suppression and others as vital security, as in proposed gun restrictions in the wake of Uvalde, as in the long simmering move to follow other states and legalize marijuana. Panel, take your pick and offer us your collective wisdom. Will any of these issues prove game changers come November? I'm starting with you, Jackie Bally.
So the top three for most voters, and polling has shown this: border crisis, the economy, and law enforcement, making sure that our crime rates are down. We're seeing what's going on in Harris County, and some numbers. We are #1 now in the country as far as crime rates. And a lot of people are concerned. A lot of voters are concerned. As far as the economy, as you mentioned earlier, that's why so many people are coming to our great state of Texas, because we continue to thrive in our economy. So those are the top three issues, and based on who they trust to continue to keep Texas moving forward, that's Governor Abbott, and that's why he's going to continue to do really well coasting into election.
Mustafa, is it your sense that choice and the whole issue of Uvalde and gun violence have eclipsed the other issues?
Absolutely. Look, since overturning Roe versus Wade, 70% of people that have registered to vote are women. Women are also the majority of the voters in this state and across the country. So that's a potent issue. And what we're seeing with a guns issue, it has changed a whole lot. Beto has changed the dynamic of it. You're seeing him have these conversations in rural parts. You've seen him take this on head on. And there's a lot of energy amongst young voters and really all voters, especially mothers, when it comes to school shootings. So you're going to see the convergence of both choice and the gun issue put really momentum behind Beto O'Rourke.
All right, Mark, you heard both perspectives there. What's your take?
Well, I think, on one hand, inflation and particularly crime and public safety are major issues that are of concern to a large number of voters. But then there are also issues like abortion and gun control that, while perhaps one level down, may be the issues that motivate people who don't otherwise turn out to vote to turn out to vote, or who normally vote Republican to vote Democratic. And so from a Democratic perspective, you're going to really want to focus in on abortion and gun control and make those the highlight issues. Republicans are going to try to make this far more about securing the border, crime and public safety at home, and the record inflation rates for the past 40 years.
Good point. Charles, did I miss the ball completely? Is it the economy, stupid, that'll eclipse all?
I mean, I think in large part, and I think the other half of that is what Mark mentioned, which is crime. And, a lot of these crimes are driven by, poor economy and poor economic conditions for folks who have been previously incarcerated and all these other reasons. But yeah, I do think it comes down to those two things. Again, it goes back to people have been consistently critical of Republican leadership in the state of Texas, but that hasn't stopped folks from California, New York, and elsewhere from moving here. And that is because of the economy here. And I think with the economy here in Texas and then inflation coming down from the national level, it's a kind of a perfect storm for Republicans to take advantage of.
Karen Murray, I get the sense that you believe Democrats are in better shape than they were 6 months ago when we last talked about this issue on air. Is that a fair statement?
I think it is. I mean, if you look at polling of Biden, his approval rating over the last several weeks has ticked up several points on average. Gas prices have come down significantly over the last couple of months. In addition, here in Texas and with decisions out of the Supreme Court, sort of out of the mainstream, Republican priorities have become front and center for the electorate and are making a lot of voters uncomfortable. And so I think that recipe has made a more attractive climate for Democrats to run here in Texas, but it probably needs to improve further for them to have a chance to win any statewide races.
I want to brag on Mark Jones a little bit. We've been working together nearly 2 decades. He has only missed one race in all that time. So, Mark, what's going to happen?
Well,
no pressure.
All the odds say the Republican winning streak with all the statewide races continues, unless, as Keir mentioned, some things change between now and November. That's possible. That is, Republicans are less certain than they were a few months ago, and that could clearly change. And at the statewide level, if we're going to look for the weakest members of the herd, it's probably Ken Paxton, who has a host of troubles. The difficulty, though, is if Rochelle Garza can't raise money to educate Texas voters about Ken Paxton, then they'll be voting straight party ticket, and that's where the Republicans always have the advantage today in Texas.